I always identified as male until later on when I heard words like sort of gender fluid. I enjoy kind of peddling the fence in a way, like being between both.
I identify as a male. As a male, most things are in my favour, and I recognise that.
My gender is a cis woman, so I was born a woman and that's what I identify as.
At this point I'm kind of getting to it. I'm figuring it out. I've told quite a few friends and they're cool about it, yeah. No one really judges, so that's good.
There are the stereotypes of enjoying things like football, at least as a Scot.
Boys like football, girls like pink, stuff like that.
That is always, you know, a kind of thing that is restrictive, and it's always this black and white, boys, girls, you know, and there's not any kind of recognition that there might be anything in between.
Jokes have been made about, I bet you enjoy the ballet then, and I mean I do enjoy the ballet, but it's a strange one where I never considered myself that there are these things which are manly things to do and things that are not.
Like, obviously we've come a long way since like 100 years ago, but there's still so many problems that we face.
Just for me as a gay person, there's always that belief, because you are perceived as being so feminine and because you may act in a feminine way, you know, there's always that thing of, oh, do you really want to be a girl though?
Society constructs, enjoyment of aggressive sports and things like that as, masculine, but then the arts and things of that ilk as feminine, and I haven't really appreciated that until recently.
I think there's always those barriers when, like, even something as simple as if you have a lot of female friends and they've got this idea of like, oh, we're going to have a girls' night. For some reason that always kind of struck a wee bit with me, like, oh well, can I go?
My stepdad's quite into gender roles, so he saw me as like, it was weird that I was going to university to study things. Like, he's from like an older generation, and you definitely see it with them, like, why aren't you getting married, why aren't you having kids, like.
I think all camp men are kind of put in a box of being reduced to this idea of being, bitchy or effeminate, you know.
I think it is just important to recognise that gender isn't binary, it's not set in stone, things can be much more fluid than that.
A lot of people like identify as one thing one day, another day they might feel more masculine or feminine, and like there's no set way of how your gender has to be perceived.
I feel like people really perpetuate the barriers and keep that separate rather than try and see that there's a kind of whole spectrum.
In general, I wish people just knew that you can't place everyone into a category. There's going to be people that are going to identify as female, some that identify as male, and others that are all over the spectrum, and people that don't identify as either. So I just wish people could understand that.
Not afraid to say that, maybe I'm not fully male. I don't have any ideas of transitioning, but I'm fluid.
There's always going to be people who just don't understand and aren't going to get it and find it wrong if you're not going to fit into the box that they think you should.
Getting angry and in their face doesn't help. Like, staying calm and like explaining all the different parts of like sexism and gender roles really helps.
It's like there's a fear of an absence of masculinity, I feel like, and it's not even so much a problem for people to be feminine or female, it's that idea of them not being masculine.
I used to feel like I was forced into this box, but I've gotten to the stage where I really don't care what people are gonna think. So I'll be myself, and that's that now.
Things have opened up much more for me, and I can see the wealth, of human diversity in terms of gender. And I think that's important, that people recognise that it is wonderfully diverse.
Acting feminine doesn't mean you're weak, and acting masculine does not mean you're strong.
Like, people can identify as a man and wear pink. People can identify as a woman and wear pink. Anybody can wear pink.
So I think just be free.